Today, I'm going to be interviewing an African American that I met about a week ago named Edwina, and I'm just going to ask her some questions about her, who she is, and why she's here, and what she thinks of Dar es Salaam and her stay here. She's been here for 3 months, and today is her last day, so this is a very important video and interview, and she embraced me and had dinner a couple times and had some interesting conversations, and I thought that it would be great for me to get some good coverage of her and get her on the channel so people can see and hear her perspective. I got my brothers over here, Kakayangu. Yeah, yeah, peaceful brothers. Yeah, salama.
Salama kabisa. Welcome Tanzania.
Yeah, say
Welcome Tanzania for study Swahili language and another language.
ah, salama.
Some tribe.
Yeah. What tribe y'all from?
Hey,
Hey, hey.
hey tribe.
Hey, hey, tribe. Okay, I've been reading about the Hey Hey tribe. What tribe you from, brother?
Yeah.
What tribe? You ain't gotta be shy. Show 'em
That
that,
man,
show 'em that golden skin, brother. What tribe you from, brother?
Kabila gani?
No
Yes.
tribe. Ah, you
That is
Chaga?
the
Chaga?
Nyakyusa.
Maybe?
Mgogo.
Ndogo?
Mgogo.
Ndogo, that's little, right?
Mgogo from Dodoma. Dodomia.
Oh, from a, yeah, that's the capital city.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So, Edwina, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I'm a retired teacher.
Retired teacher.
I've taught from, some of everything, from kindergarten to university.
Really?
Yeah.
So, what did you do in the university?
I was teaching older students coming back how to get their writing skills up to snuff.
Really? I could have used you running in there with all these young kids.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you can run stuff by me. That's
Excellent.
one thing about electronics.
Yes, excellent. Definitely.
Got a final paper you want me to just do a little proofing? I'll be happy to help you.
So, what brings you to Dar es Salaam?
I've never been to East Africa, and I'm an Africanist for real, but West Africa is all I know. And I haven't been there in decades, so I was just overdue a trip to the continent.
Totally.
And as I mentioned, I'm such a YouTube lover. Everybody's got me excited about what's going on in countries I haven't been to.
Totally. So, who are well, first of all, what countries have you been on in West Africa?
Nigeria and Ghana.
Nigeria and Ghana.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, my mother went to Ghana and concluded that we're Ashanti. She had an audience with the Ashanti king, who was the top Ashanti chief.
Right.
And his name was Edwina Ware. My last name is Ware. They say we've been mispronouncing our name.
Wow.
And he looked just like one of my dad's brothers on my dad.
Wow.
So that's close enough to me. I don't need DNA.
Exactly.
Yeah, something 23, whatever, all these different things take your money. We know who you look like.
Exactly, exactly.
It was fun though. Just get my mother's input. She had to go and bow before him, and she was not young when she did this. So she was in her 50s at least, and she enjoyed it. But she used to go with a friend of ours who still lives over there. So I know a lot of people who expatted early. I just admire the writers that I know of, back to W.E.B. Du Bois, and his folks are buried over there in Ghana. So, yeah,
So
that's where I need to be.
you mentioned some YouTubers that you follow.
Yes.
That may have encouraged to come into the East
They
Coast.
painted quite a picture of the area I didn't know much about.
You mind to name some of those?
Yeah, I think the first one was probably either African Tigress or this other one, this lady that lives up in, what's that her name now, but she lives up in Arusha. She married a Tanzanian.
Oh, wow.
So her story about how she met and, how he wooed her and what the family did. And she even had her wedding, traditional Tanzanian wedding. That was really nice to watch. And now they have a child. And then the other people that I keep up with regularly are T3 and me. Yeah, that's Tim Ford, who's from Memphis, Tennessee, and his family. And I met them before they came to this country. They were in, I believe, Rwanda, if I'm not mistaken. The little baby was tiny, just walking good, had a little pacifier in his mouth, and they were running from COVID. Everybody else, people were trying to get out of the U.S.
So you met people when the COVID thing was going on
Yes.
that came to Africa to
Yes.
get away from the.
They were. Most of them said, I'd tell you, 80% of them said they had Ghana on their radar, and then Ghana closed their borders. Like, well, where I gotta go now? And they had this dilemma, and they checked around who. At that time, Michael Coolidge was the president. He was the gentleman. If you do a little research, he poo-pooed the whole COVID testing and everything. And he was unpopular with some, or very popular with some. He was not too many people in the middle. And the fact that he did some of his own testing, he gave them some samples for the COVID, and they said everything had COVID, and he said that was a plan. That is, the sample came from all kinds of places, and he could tell them where it came from. And that's how he concluded. Plus, I understand his background was some type of science area. He wasn't just a politician, he had some kind of science course background. He's an educated man. So anyhow, that's how a lot of people ended up here, because it was their not even a choice, it was their second, third, or fourth choice of places to go. But they just knew they wanted to flee the whole COVID thing. They locked down. They didn't want to be cramped up in a house with kids, and just the whole reality of watching this. You know how things work. You see what's going on in China. You figure we're next. And I think so many they were. It was flight. Yeah, it was time to fly. And so I met a lot of this week. And then there was the young man, he's not that young, but he's called Go Black to Africa.
Go Black to Africa.
Yeah, just his title would make you,
Totally.
Go
He's
Black
actually
to Africa.
a big influence of mine. Him and Edwina Ware, I think, were the two YouTubers that I probably watched the most that have given me a broader perspective of Africa.
And they do travel a lot.
Totally.
Those two move around the continent. Now, ain't no, you can just pull their name up and just pick a country.
Totally.
They've probably been there.
I appreciate that.
Yes, I
Go Black to Africa and Edwina Ware, very much appreciate it.
Very good. They still are. They're bringing a lot of information to us.
Totally. Right. So how long have you been here?
If I stayed another week, it'd be 3 months.
3 months. 3 whole months.
I came here. I don't know what made me think of the 3 months. I know one thing is you have to leave after 3 months. You can't stay in the country on a visitor's visa.
Oh, that's right. That's
one thing. Yeah, that's one thing. And I just felt I didn't want to be on vacation. I didn't want to be a visitor. I wanted to come and see how well I melded with the country. Because I am retired, but I want to retire in Africa. I have friends who have. They go back and forth. I know older people my age. I know younger people. They may have married a native of the country. They may not have. But they find it very comfortable to be bicontinental, and I think that's a good thing. You don't have to say, I'm getting over here to get away from there. Enjoy the best of both.
Of both worlds. Right?
Enjoy the
Because
best
we
of
are
both.
African Americans,
We
right? We're
are.
African and
Whatever
Americans,
we
right?
want to call ourselves.
That's
We have built that country. We can come back and pick up where we left off
wow.
over here. That's the way I feel about it. I feel very connected. Very connected. Listen at the call to prayer going on now.
Yeah, we're in a predominantly kind of a Muslim area in
Yes.
the Mumbai area.
Okay.
Uh, what was your first initial reaction or response to when you got to Tanzania? You've already had experience on the West Coast, and so what's your initial reaction to this place, and in comparison and contrast to West Africa?
All right. Initially, it was just the heat, the humidity and the heat. I told somebody my skin feels different after a week. At home I have dry skin, especially my elbows.
It's no dry. It's no dryness here.
No dryness. The moisture. And I was staying on the ocean. I was staying at a seafront guest house, and salt water, salty lips, hot. I mean, I would come out and I'd be doing this day and night, you know. So I couldn't get used to coming in. I would recommend not making your first trip during their summer, which is our winter. This is true summertime. So the morning temperature is in the late upper 70s, if not 80s, and the high temperature might hit 90. That's what it's just a 10-degree range, 79 to 89. Yeah, that's hot. I'm coming from Georgia. So we have hot weather, but not this
like
kind of hot. Humidity is a factor.
So, what do you think about the culture here and the people, and maybe where are some places and things that you've seen since you've been here?
The culture is a lot to absorb because, again, I've never been in I know a lot of Muslims, but I've never been in an environment where you're here and see their garments, their call to prayer is very vocal. So everywhere I've been, I went to Zanzibar, you hear the call to prayer. I kind of get used to it. It's almost like the rooster crowing. Early morning, 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, depends on how close you are to a mosque. But you're going to hear the call to prayer. You know, if it's not on a microphone, they just speak loudly. If you're close enough, you're going to hear it because it's a very, very fervent thing. So that was something to kind of adjust to. I thought it would be more annoying, but it's actually a bit more comforting after I got used to the rhythm. And then you meet people who take an exit because they got to go pray. I went to a theme park, a water park, for a birthday party, and I took a picture of it. You're going down the path to go to the restroom when the change closed, and there's signs where to go. You know, this is that way. It says prayer room that way. So, you know, at an amusement park, you have to have a prayer room. That lets you know there are a lot of devout people. Totally. You're going to spend the whole day here. You're going to have to, you ain't missing no prayers. Go to the prayer room. So, I mean, that respect for religions, they're very tolerant.
Very tolerant.
Very tolerant. I haven't anybody. One Sunday I heard the prayer, the call to prayer, then the next hour I heard some Christian singing.
Totally. This is the only place that I've ever witnessed where you have Hindu, Christian, and Muslims, and you have all their mosques and sanctuaries and places all in walking around with each other. It's really
I hear they intermarry a bit more.
They intermarry. Case in point, one of our good friends is Muslim, and he's married to a Christian. So.
Okay, so that's how it works. And I don't ask people their religion. I just, observe. Because I think it's personal. If you want to talk to me about it, or if you're dressed. For the men, it's more difficult to tell. The women wear the hijabs and different facial coverings. That's just the way they're so modest. And I had been forewarned. I came here, and the first thing I did was I threw dresses to the ground that covered my arms. Yeah, totally. And I mean, I don't wear hoochie clothes. It's just that I don't own any church clothes.
Right.
So I had to.
Some garments too.
Yeah, you just got to fit in.
Roman.
Be a Roman, especially when you look like the Roman.
Exactly.
So so I want to fit in, and I see where I could live here.
Have you felt embraced by being an African American and coming here to You know, even I've heard even other Africans from various places around the country. You know, Tanzania has a distinct flavor and kind of style that's a little
Yeah,
different
it,
than other places. But do you feel that you've been,
I've been well
embraced or?
received. I've been well received, I think. And I think one other factor, I'm a senior. They love their elders. Most Africans respect elders, but I think in Tanzania there's a special respect. And I learned what my first Swahili word was bibi, which is grandma. I'm the grandmama, so everybody calls me bibi or grandma. And I said, that's fine. I am a bibi. So that's the kind of thing when you have that. The only problem I had at the beginning, I walked with a cane. Since I've been here, I'm actually putting the cane down.
Really?
More and more.
Interesting.
More and more.
Interesting.
It's just the streets are really rough. Sidewalks don't exist sometimes.
Totally.
Pavement doesn't exist on the road sometimes. So based on that, I remember where I am. I'll put the cane back out. But it's just such a healthy atmosphere.
Speaking of health, what's been your experience with food? In Swahili, that's chakula.
Chakula has been 100% natural.
Mm.
I wrote one of my friends, or talked to some of my friends back home. I said, I haven't had a can opened up yet. I haven't had a can of nothing.
Wow, I did not. Wow.
I haven't
I
had
haven't
a
seen a
can.
can either. I didn't put that
I
together.
mean, there's things like what they call maize, we call corn. I haven't tried it because I was told it's different. And you see it roasted and it's tempting, but it's not juicy. I've been told it's not juicy.
Right,
So
right.
if it's not juicy, I don't need it. So I just let them enjoy their corn, and I wish I get back home for the kind you have, that hybrid stuff that I'm used to.
So,
But it's
so
just been good food. Good food. They don't spice their food up like West Africa.
mm,
In West Africa, you better get your where's the water, you know. And I like that. But here, you have to ask for chili.
I noticed that too.
You have to ask for the pepper.
Sauce and spices.
Yeah.
Totally. Which is interesting since this is one of they're known for the spice trade.
Yeah, spice trade, the spice islands around it. It is strange.
Mm-hmm.
And you can find a little corner open market. They have spices all the time.
Totally. Yep.
You see, I mean, you know what they look like because they're not always labeled where you can read it, but they sell it. Just don't use the way we would.
Now you said you mentioned obviously you've traveled alone as a senior.
Yes.
What would you say to other African American seniors? Because I know, matter of fact, my dad sent me a long message last night. He was like, "I'm probably never making it to Africa."
Oh.
What would you tell a senior African American or senior in general from the states about traveling to Africa? Since you came here alone, a woman.
I came prepared. I had my compression socks. I'll put them on before I leave. I wore them on the flight because it's a long flight.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have enough space to move around, so that's double aisles. Those long flights, they got carts in the aisle half the time. So, and then if the flight's full, you can't stretch out another seat or do something. So wear you some compression socks and find a way to get up every few hours. Compression socks.
My seniors,
Get you some compression socks. Even if you don't normally wear them, you might need them for a flight. So you don't get blood clots, and you don't get, your leg falling asleep and things that can happen from sitting. Just sitting for that many hours. Yes.
Totally
Your blood circulation gets screwed up. And the other thing would be, what was my case? I was supposed to bring family. We were planning a family trip originally to go to Kenya. And that didn't work out. I was going to take a great niece of mine, whose name is Diani. We were going to Diani Beach in Mombasa. That was my plan, but it wasn't their plan. So, so they didn't want to do that. They didn't get the passport, so no problem. And of my grandchildren, everybody didn't have a passport.
Right.
So we went on a cruise instead to have our family trip, and I hopped on a plane to come here by myself. I wasn't going to not come.
Family, we have to get our passports.
Get your passport. If you don't have one, number one,
it's
you need it. You need it. You need to go to Canada now, I think.
Yep. I think you do.
So,
I think you're right.
Get your passport. They're good for 10 years, so it's an investment. So when something comes up, you can go. Nobody wants to say, I can't because I won't be let in the country. And a U.S. passport is welcome in most, I'm sure 98% of the countries in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, that's one of the things some people don't want to give up. Even if they leave in America, they don't want to give up that passport. It does allow you a certain privilege when you get to international airports. Certain countries, they'll pull you aside and make you go to a different line. U.S. passports and UK, certain countries like that. It's like a straight through. It might be a line, but you're in the faster moving line. That's such a nice thing here. And they also got the crazy traffic. The traffic scares me sometimes. I've been almost hit by the judge.
I'm telling you, me too. Looking the wrong way.
Looking the wrong way. Oh, enough to get you to hop, skip, and jump.
So I'm going to ask you really one more question.
Okay.
And the question is, what message would you have for Black America about coming to Africa, or anything that you would want to tell them, the Black Americans who haven't been to Africa before?
I think you owe it to yourself. That's what I would say. You owe it to yourself. I bet you everybody that doesn't want to come to Africa has been somewhere on a plane. They've been on a plane. They went to Vegas. They went to somewhere, Miami or something. The money you spend at resorts in those high traffic areas, Disney World, where you go, you won the Super Bowl, Disney World. Come on, go to Africa. Why did somebody say that? I'm going to Kinshasa. I'm going to Dar es Salaam. I'm going to Accra. They don't say that. But one thing is the problem. For U.S., we can get in, but a lot of people are saying Africans don't travel around Africa because they don't have agreements. It's more difficult to get between African countries for an African.
It is.
And that's something that definitely needs to be addressed. It doesn't affect us as much. Not at all.
And that's a very important point, that we have, African Americans have, to a degree, even more freedom to move around Africa than Africans themselves.
That is the truth. That should not be. And I'm sure that's an individual country problem. They got to work on it individually. But if you watch Maya, African Tigress, even Go Black, there's a lot of people who try to move around and show other countries. The things they run into are just unexpected. You were just like, but he's African, or she, what? Not even the language. It's just a matter of they don't have agreements. And I can't help them because I'm trying to just get me over here, but it's something to be addressed. Yeah, somewhere people need to come, because my grandchildren, as much as we talk about Africa, when I got here, my granddaughter says, "Do you see it? Have you seen any giraffes or elephants?" I said, "No, baby, I haven't. I'm in the city," and I had to show them when I got into the city proper.
And it's an actual city.
Yeah, I actually had to show them the traffic and the buildings. I did a little panning around when I got downtown, and it was like, wow. My grandson said, "Show me the cars again." Show me the cars again.
Yeah.
Did you see any Teslas? I said, not one. That's his concern.
No Teslas yet.
7-year-old asked me, did we see any Teslas? So I haven't seen any Teslas, but I've seen a lot of other vehicles that I hadn't seen before. The three-wheelers, the bicycles, the people,
the Bajajis, the motorbikes, the motorboaters.
Everything. They got so many kinds of new motorized and non-motorized.
Yeah, ways to get around.
And they carry loads. Like, I saw a place near here that has like mattresses. They're like big foam mattresses.
Yeah.
They're the mattresses for your bed, but they're all like just big, huge pieces of foam with a cover. But they had them stacked up so high, I thought they were going to hit the telephone wires, whatever wires going across the street. They were stacked up, and there's a man on foot pulling this.
Yes.
And they had like the smaller batch, the twin on the bottom, and they got bigger as they went up. Oops, I messed up the phone. I thought that was amazing. I took several shots.
I seen, we were at the, on my way to Bagamoyo, we were at the bus station in Winnie, and we seen we couldn't believe it. We seen a motor carrying a casket. The long way. A full casket.
On top?
On the back of his, where the person sits?
Yeah.
It was strapped up, and it was the long way.
Oh my God.
Or the wide way, or whatever.
Yeah, it was sticking out. We couldn't believe it. We were all like, I got some pictures too. I might have loaded up on those are some things that you have to show somebody. They wouldn't believe you.
You wouldn't believe it, yeah.
The things I've seen on a motor.
Yeah.
The motorcycles.
But it shows
Four
their
people.
will.
Yeah.
So it shows their efficiency, and it's going the
And
job
it's
gonna get
common.
done.
It's
It's
common.
common. It's common, and
It's
people
common.
respect it. And even though him carrying the casket seemed like he couldn't fit the traffic and the people,
Moved over a little
yeah,
bit.
because he knew
Uh-huh.
that he got to get to point B like everyone else was.
That's respect. That's respect
Well,
for your occupation. The job has to be done.
yeah,
Cooperation. I think that's the word I would use. People
cooperation.
are very cooperative.
Extremely cooperative.
They are cooperative. You don't see people littering, and if you
No.
see some dirt, somebody's gonna clean it up because
Have you
they
seen
always.
any crime here since you've been here for 3 months? Like,
No.
like back home, like did anybody get shot?
No.
What about jumped or like no fights?
I tell you, last night I thought somebody had done something because I saw a
Right.
crowd, and I was standing in my window and taking video and talking to my daughter. I said, "What's going on over here? They're over there. I can't tell what they're saying." Found out later it was people watching the soccer game. Nobody, not
Football.
their football was on. They were
Yeah.
watching through the window of a appliance store. I thought they were talking about somebody beating up somebody. I said, boy, I'm back into my U.S. I'm ready to be back in the U.S.
See
I've
how we
already.
kind of traumatized? Because I've had similar experiences too, and it was nothing of what I thought
Nothing.
was
I
going
was shocked when he told me it was good. I said, oh, I should have thought of that. But the only thing I remember was the World Cup. I'm not a big sports enthusiast.
Right.
But I did watch World Cup. But I thought, as far as I'm concerned, soccer was finished for the year. But they were watching the football game. Football.
Wow. Well, we're
It was
losing.
wonderful. Losing our
We're
daylight.
losing our daylight.
And
Our
the lights haven't come
appreciation.
on.
Yeah. Oh, these lights come on too?
I'm sure they do.
Oh, at a certain time?
I guess. I mean, they're up here, so
This is such a beautiful view.
it's a nice view.
This the best view I've seen of the city.
Yes, if you can come up here again, they might let you.
Yeah, I think I am.
And
Well,
I kept up with the neighbor's business because I'm sitting out looking out the window. I know everybody hangs their laundry out. Even in like this hotel, that's a laundry line there. They wash the clothes, but they always hang out. People have washing machines but no dryers.
yeah.
Everything is fresh air drying. I watch every
The one
balcony.
dryers take a lot of energy too. That's
Yes.
another thing. They're very conscious of conserving energy.
And they have power outages.
Yeah, exactly.
Power outages and water shortages. But it's not so much when you get to a hotel, they kind of cover those things. So I think I've had power out shortly a couple of times since I've been here.
Yeah.
And probably only because I was in the room in the daytime. Most people are out running about.
That's another thing though, because this is still a developing country. When there's those things, when things like that happen, it's respected by the whole community. Like you might can't make
No
it to church
complaints, yeah.
or work. There's no
No
complaints.
complaints. You
none
go
of that.
and
You
you
do
probably
what you
have a
can.
flashlight, or you have your
Yeah.
own.
Totally.
Hopefully, you got some. Newer homes have big windows. Older homes have those little, short windows. So if you're in one of the older, everybody comes outside when the power's out. You can tell when the power's out. If you're going through the neighborhood, it's not nighttime because people are all sitting outside more than usual. There are always people outside, but people come out because there's no light indoors. So it's just things to adjust to, but it works. It has worked, and it will continue to work. Just fix these roads for me. I've had some rough rides, worse than, well, I won't say worse than, but as bad as the roads I rode on in southeastern Nigeria, in the Igbo region after the war.
Right.
I was out there. I was married to an Igbo man. And when I went to, those were, I thought, were the most war-torn roads. Here, the roads are about that bad in some areas.
So
I don't know how people keep their cars
getting
up.
around. I know it's something.
I mean, I would not bring a car that I own over here.
It'd be
It was
some
a
nice
Jeep.
cars too.
Yeah.
Out where I'm at in the Masaki Bay, Oyster Bay area is kind of safe, but you still got to come to the city at some point.
Right, it depends on where you're going. You might be safe in your neighborhood or your car is not going to get beat up. But if you go anywhere else, if you don't have a throwaway car to use for those trips, you got to have one car for the rough ride or a truck, or four-wheel drive. I see some people do have four-wheel drive. But smaller vehicles are just in because fuel is high.
Totally. I'm going to ask you one more question before we bring it to a close.
Okay.
You've been here for 3 months. You're leaving in the next day or so. In your entire time here, and this is kind of well, it's not really a broad question. Since you've been here for 3 months, have you seen any sick people? Have you see a multitude of sick people?
No, I haven't seen any sick people. I've seen some lame people on the ground.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, there's very little accommodation for the handicapped. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Problems that I was surprised. There'll be stairs going down that perfectly nice stairs, but there's not one handrail.
No.
There's nothing. I'm like, well, how do you get? They just walk down. People walk with assurity, like they're like goats or something, like animals that are just go. And I got it in my head. I don't have something to hold on to. I might fall.
Right, right.
I've already got 2 hip replacements, leg replacements, nothing else because of a fall. So those are the things. Even going to a bank or something, I'm used to holding on. And people kind of look at here come that old lady, So
Right.
I'm going to hold on
Right.
to go up every step.
I've noticed that too, and I've noticed even without this type of handicap accommodations we have in America, the handicapped people around here are working like anybody else, still
Right.
getting around with no complaint and smiling.
With one cane or one crutch or something under
Right.
their arms.
But besides that, I haven't seen anyone sick.
I have not. I have seen a lot of women, in particular, with something on their head, something in both hands, and a baby tied on their back.
I haven't, as a
That I
child,
have seen.
the images that I've seen of Africa was always sick children. And
No.
I've seen the strongest
little
most
healthy
intelligent,
babies.
healthiest babies that I've ever seen in my life.
When I went to that water park, I was just wanting to take pictures of them. Some of them so cute. They just
Totally.
little
Beautiful.
children. Yeah,
Beautiful little
yeah.
children.
Children are just running wild, having a good time. Look like mine.
Yeah, yeah, because they are ours. Well, Edwina, I appreciate meeting you, and we definitely gonna stay in contact. And thanks for letting me share this experience with you and getting some of your experience.
Well, thank you for interviewing me. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
Going to be part of history now.
Yes, yeah, yeah. A new history is emerging. Yeah.
And I wish you well on your endeavors. You're doing good with your language acquisition. That's the other thing. Learn some of the language. Wherever you're going, even if they say English is spoken here, don't believe them. It's spoken by certain people. You're not hanging around a university.
Learning linguistics.
Yes, you need to learn the native something. Be a little conversation because if you can say a few words, people will be impressed.
Tanzania is a culture where they respect relationships. So they respect relationships before getting something or money. They value friendship. They value uh, commonalities. They value, hey, how you doing, before asking for something. It's very important here, and it goes back hundreds of years. It's very interesting to see.
And how is your family?
Yeah, how is your family? How are you doing?
Right.
Before I sell you anything, we'll get to that.
Yes.
And that's really a unique thing to see.
It's kind of southern U.S. People now.
Totally.
Yeah,
it's a southern thing because they still connected to. They got the roots.
When I first moved from Chicago to the South college, people used to think I was stuck up. I was at the HBCU and I walked about my business, and somebody would say at breakfast or something, "I saw you under the trees. I saw you on the." I said, "I didn't see you." I mean, I wasn't looking for you, but it's like they let you know they saw you. I'm supposed to look for people seeing me walking between points. But I learned that that's one of the things that is expected to say. Howdy. How you doing?
How you doing? Yeah.
Hey.
Create
hey,
some
girl.
sort of relationship before we have an exchange.
In Chicago, you ignored folks.
A lot of
places you didn't want folks to think you were reporting on them.
That's right.
Your neighbor, maybe one way you're supposed to be, maybe you don't know, but you don't go around talking about, hey, John, I saw you at the club last night. If Mary wasn't with him,